Welcome, everybody, to Tectonic Takes. I'm here with Danny from the L3Pod. So welcome to our new series. We kind of have something a little fun to talk about here. Big news coming out of the Champions League, or the Concacaf Champions League at least. LAFC moves on. So I brought on Danny to talk about, I guess, how fast or is MLS at Liga MX quality, or are they not even there yet? Danny, welcome on. How you doing today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for the invite. Big fan of you guys' show. Also,
Thank you.
Local San Jose podcast. Also talking about Quick. So hell yeah, I'm all for it. But yeah, I've been doing good, and quite a match we had on Saturday for both matches, but one overshadows the other one.
Yeah, definitely. One at least had a lot more weight than the other when it comes to talking about league quality or even just like press, right? Because we saw today that El Piojo, right, got sacked from America. So definitely a lot of weight on that type of matchup, and as well as a lot of weight in that cup. So what do you think of the game?
I mean, the game overall was something that it was expected. We, if you've been following Liga MX, you know that America has been plagued with injuries and players not being there, and COVID, of course. So the squad that we saw with America wasn't their A squad, but that still should not be no excuse for a team with such prestige,
right?
Like America, that their B or the C squad couldn't make it. But Piojo came out playing more defensive. We saw him with the 5-4-1 lineup to counterattack LAFC's more fast-paced, super fast attacking formation, which is very entertaining. It's of course very fun. So we saw those changes coming up for America, and the game was exactly what we were going to expect. Very physical. Don't let anybody from the opposite team. LAFC wasn't going to allow America to counter them, because we know LAFC's defense isn't the best. Right. So you saw a lot of fouls being committed in the middle, the midfield on both ends. And that's exactly what we expected, a very physical. And, LAFC looked good. I mean, unfortunately, there's more to that story, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Yeah. But LAFC looked good. They played how America had to be played. And they got lucky, the stars lined up. Just like we know that Jupiter and Saturn are lining up tonight, so that actually helped out for LAFC. And this was, a couple of episodes ago with the L3Pod. I said this is probably going to be the final LAFC versus Tigres, just for the way that the things worked out. So it was a physical match. It was a good match, and unfortunately, for America, with everything going on with them prior to coming to this match, LAFC was able to capitalize on that. And you know what? My hat's off to LAFC.
Yeah, great game by them. It must suck, because it's like the best Mexican player helping an MLS team achieve this task that no other MLS team has done, taking out 3 Mexican Liga MX sides, as well as maybe possibly being the first to raise that cup. So it definitely, probably as a Liga MX fan watching this, it hurts them dearly that one of their favorite players is actually the one taking their teams down. But all in all, I thought it was a great game. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Carlos Vela, I think he's always been like every Mexican fan, kind of poster child. I know he came up with the Chivas Academy. Me, not really. don't hate the team Chivas. I don't like the fans because they kind of throw in your face. So even with that aspect, I always like Bella. I always liked him. I thought he was a good player. Unfortunately, more drama. Outside sources never really allowed him to continue with the national team.
Yeah.
But it's always great to just see him perform. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard that he was coming from Europe to LAFC, I'm like, man, that's the end of the career. He's gonna step down. It's gonna be a step down. But seeing what he's been doing, seeing where the league is now, not just LAFC but MLS, you're like, you know what, this is actually not so bad. And prior to this match on Saturday, we saw rumors about him possibly going back to Mexico and playing for another team over there, and vice versa. I mean, in the past couple of weeks, the players going between MLS and Liga MX has been increasing. So it is a little bit, for fans of Liga MX, seeing like, oh yeah, one of our own and kind of defeating us and stuff. But I mean, if you do see Liga MX, not a lot of Mexicans play, for Liga MX. So, and it's good. I feel like it's a good thing for MLS that their teams are made up of so many international players, not just from like United States, but also from Central and South America. Which is the same players that these teams from Liga MX, not just America, but like any other team minus Chivas, they're fighting for the same players. They're fighting for the same Argentinians, Brazilians, Ecuadorians, Peru, from Peru. So this is the players so now players have more options to go play Liga MX and MLS. So that's a big concern for Liga MX as an organization. Like, yo, they're doing something over here because they're attracting more people. So it's something that MLS is doing really, really good.
And that has happened just in the last 5 years. I think with Toronto FC kind of having those good CONCACAF Champions League runs with Giovinco and Bradley and Altidore, a lot of eyes were opened up to MLS, and as well as Montreal making that final that 1 year on that wonder goal. I just think more eyes are on MLS, and that can help MLS grow as a league. Danny, do you think the time's coming? I mean, do you think it's coming that MLS is finally going to be at the same level or better than Liga MX in the next 3 years?
Absolutely. I mean, and 100% correct. In the last 5 years, the quality of MLS has grown. Everybody thought that MLS was this retirement, team or retirement league where people came and kind of do it. But I was thinking, like, dude, a lot of players from MLS have gone. Like, okay, this is not the best example, but it's an example. David Beckham, he came from Real Madrid, played over Galaxy, did great stuff for the Galaxy. But he didn't end his career with Galaxy. He ended up going back to PSG, and playing champions and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's, granted, not everybody's a David Beckham, but this is like an example. Same thing with Satan, like, again, not every, but then again, Satan's like a beast. He's going to be like 50 and playing for like, all these teams.
And he just got voted best MLS goal of all time. So, I mean, definitely. has
and so in the last 5 years, and especially not only with the MLS teams making deep runs in CONCACAF champions, but also I think this MLS is back cup that happened in the summer, that was a real big eye opener for the world, and now they're paying attention and they saw what quality the United States have. I'm not saying all the teams are up there with the same quality, but there's some good teams out here in MLS that will give, Liga MX and even some of the middle table or the even lower middle tables in any leagues in Europe a run for their money. So it's not there yet. MLS is not there with Liga MX yet, but it's close. And I would not be surprised, like you said, in the next 5 years is in the same level. Hence why I think there's this push to kind of merge these or do something with both of the leagues together.
And that's a very fun type of league to think about, right? I mean, imagine Los Cholos playing against New York Red Bulls, right? You're never gonna see that ever. But if this league happens, we might see that happen, on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, it'll be crazy. Like, imagine San Jose playing, well, not actually, that happened already, but like
or like Leon,
like
right?
Leon, Leon, or having Atlas going up to play Seattle or something,
Right.
or
Yeah, I know
it's fun. It sounds like fun, and I think is even more funner for the casual fan who
definitely.
have heard of, because you don't have to follow soccer, but you hear about the labels.
Yeah.
Anytime we talk about Liga MX or Mexican soccer, they're always gonna bring up America, Chivas, because this is the things that there's very popular, at least here in the Bay Area and in California. So now for the casual fan, you hear this hype about these teams, and now you get to see them, which draws more attention to them and see, well, what's the big deal, with these teams. Like I've never seen an Argentinian game. I've never seen them, on TV, but I know about Boca Juniors. I know about River Plate. And same thing, like if they were to come and play versus San Jose, I'm gonna go check it out because like, let's see what this
just
big
the
hype
history.
about.
Yeah, the history, the club, the prestige, right?
Exactly.
I think all the MLS executives and the Liga MX executives are just like watering at the mouth for a Chicago Fire versus Chivas matchup in Chicago. Like, they tap into a Mexican market that probably never comes out to a Chicago Fire game. But if Chivas is there, they're gonna do it. They're gonna come out.
I mean, exactly. And we saw this a couple of weeks ago when Chivas played. Who they played? I think I want to say they played Leon in the. In one of the semis in Liga MX playoffs, and it was being shown on Fox Sports. And then he had our good buddy Carlos Justiz commentating, who does Chivas commentary for Telemundo in English, and they're out there, saying it, and it's like, dude, this is prime time, 2 Mexican teams, American watching, and it's like, it's cool as part of, as a member of the Liga MX and Ingles community in Twitter, seeing that and seeing like your hard work and seeing all of your doing this effort for this community grow and seeing it like shown. It felt really cool. Like, dude, like that's our child, being shown to the world.
Definitely.
And yeah, same thing. At the end of the day, man, you have these executives and stuff like, oh man, this is, if I can bring an America to play, in Minneapolis, like oh man, because at the end of the day, soccer is run by money, and there's money to be made. There's money to be made here in the United States like there is in Mexico. So this is just awesome. Imagine LAFC playing, Guadalajara in Guadalajara. Like, people will go just to boo Carlos Velas, or cheer for him. So there's money to be made. There's definitely room out there, and the market is there, and it's just waiting for the stars to line up.
You know what? Even just to integrate it as fast as possible, I would look into making it like the U.S. Open Cup type of deal, but just a North American Open Cup. And then you can have this really big tournament, but then once it gets to the, the upper teams and the upper divisions, you just, shorten it down, and then you can have the best teams, like let's say the semifinals, then they mesh, and then they can go ahead and play each other during the semifinals or something like that. But yeah, it's a quick way to, I feel like the money's already there. And if their eyes, if it's going to take all the Latins in, the United States and all the Mexican fans of the United States to help MLS to get that final push to be a big league and to be some sort of revenue machine for the United States in the sports field, I think that's the smartest move to make, because you're going to make it feel like these 2 leagues are connected, right? Because at the end of the day, all the teams that aren't in Europe have to do something to be in your view or field of view to watch, instead of watching your Champions League or your Premier Leagues, right? They're going to have to do something that catches your eye, because they're all fighting for that attention span that you as a viewer are giving. So I think this is actually a great idea to bring in, to actually mesh it, but it's going to be hard to mesh, like the main league together. I think if you could just do like a tournament style, or you know what? How about an MLS is back type of tournament, or a North America is back in Orlando preseason? Every year they go ahead and they do that, right? With 16 Liga MX teams and 16 MLS teams, right? It's something that could be very fun.
And I mean, so many, you hit so many points on that. And the thing about Liga MX is that they have a lot of Central and South Americans playing within. So you have that market to see your favorite, a Chilean player,
Right.
Peruvian player, Uruguayan player,
Yeah.
Argentinians playing on this. It's not a big market like, Mexicans in the United States, but it's still
Right.
a market that you can get tapped in there. So it's definitely there. My only issue with this, and this is something I brought up at the podcast yesterday, is that MLS has to change their way. MLS has to change. Exactly. They need to change their style. They need to get with the FIFA schedule. They need to stop with this Americanized style of sports, Eastern versus Western, with the playoffs, and it's something that always bugged me, and I really, really wish it like, I'm so passionate about it. It just pisses me off. It's the stupid MLS All-Star games. I feel like it's such an insult to the league. Like, let me collect the best players to play versus like the B squad of Arsenal, or like, play versus Toluca or something. Like, dude, that's such an insult, because while we're in season, we're taking a break from our season. They're in preseason. Like, they're not gonna take it serious. We're not gonna take it serious. So what are we? What product are we selling?
Right.
Like, oh, our best can tie against your B squad.
Right.
Like, I'd rather have. I think it's time for MLS to step it up and go against, the NFL. NFL ratings are falling.
Yeah,
People
definitely
are really pissed off because of the amount of commercials and stuff. NBA will be a little bit harder because they do run a pretty good ratings, and same thing with hockey with the NHL. But why? I feel like there's still pockets of time frames there where MLS can go in there and definitely compete for those times. And you know what? At the end of the day, dude, we live in the 21st century. We have streaming services. We have DVRs. We have, you can stream a game later or catch MLS in 60 minutes or MLS in 30-minute, match highlight, which it won't generate as much numbers as a live event, but it still will generate a good amount of numbers later.
Yeah. So what I feel like the biggest problem here is ratings, right? Ratings is a very old-fashioned, at least in the last 5 years, a very old-fashioned way to rate a game, due to the fact that a lot of MLS fans are younger, or a lot of soccer fans are younger, and those streaming numbers, they aren't calculated at a certain amount of, I guess, rating, right? They're not given a rating. But I feel like once they start to kind of get with the streaming and get with how many views you get on streams, that will change the whole ratings kind of ideal to be a more favorable ideal for younger sports like the MLS, the NHL, basketball, all these young sports that are getting ratings. I feel, this is my opinion, and I feel like soccer in the U.S. at least is going to surpass baseball pretty soon. I think baseball is on a downward trajectory because there's no flash, there's no love, there's no flamboyancy that you get to see from like NBA, soccer. Even the NHL has its swagger with fights and things like that. But the NFL, I think this is going to be a longer kind of trajectory. But I think a lot more CTE things are going to happen in the future, and that's going to scare a lot of kids from playing football. So I think a lot more kids are going to be playing soccer. So we might be seeing soccer being the number one sport in the United States and in the world, probably 30 years. And that's kind of, that's just my take on this.
No, and absolutely, a lot of parents don't want their children to play football anymore. It's not so inclusive anymore.
Right.
It's not inclusive as this other sports like baseball. There's baseball and then there's softball. Basketball has both female and male leagues and stuff. So I feel like if I have a little girl, well, I'm not gonna, why am I gonna play with this like over male dominated sport?
That's true.
I'm gonna put her into soccer or softball or basketball or volleyball or whatever. Something more a sport that's more inclusive. And I feel like soccer or football, if you want to call it, is more inclusive and it's more opening because there's the physical demand is there, but not like physical as in brute force and stuff like we're seeing in football. And I mean, honestly, like, who's the last football player that that is still playing professionally at over the age of 30. Their careers are very and it's very competitive. For soccer, like you have, Zlatan, we brought him up. He's pushing 40, 50 already. Like Buffon, same thing as like Buffon's like 90 and he's still like out there
still being a keeper. No,
Chris Wondolowski, look at him.
Right. Yeah, Wando, our very own Wando. I think the longevity. I mean, we'll start to see that. Soccer basically is just going to get bigger, right? So that's kind of like all the whole video. We kind of said, oh, MLS this, Liga MX that, but we got to look at it. If you know Liga MX fans and if you know MLS fans, we're kind of in the same boat. So this rivalry, it could be a rivalry now. LAFC took down America, but at the end of all this, we're gonna be like brothers. It's gonna be crazy because it's gonna be like, oh, these are my Chiva friends and America friends, and then these are my LAFC friends, and that's the way I grew up. That's gonna be a trip because I knew a lot of Latins in the Bay Area that was like, oh no, America, no, we're Pumas fans, no, Tigres. But now you're maybe gonna get, oh, we're Atlanta fans, we're New York fans, and then you're still gonna get your Tolucas, and it's a soccer fan's dream, right? To get all this in one bubble, right, or in one little pocket.
And you nailed it, man. Like, you have people migrating to the United States and they bring their custom stuff. So they're rooting for the teams. There are kids here who are born here in the United States. Like, they might have a affiliation with that, but they're, what's in their own backyard? You have all these small little pockets. So as they grow, they're also going to be like, well, I like this team. I like, Tigres, I think is a good example. I love Tigres, but when's the last time Tigres came and played in the United States? I'm not going to go to like Florida and watch them, so I'm going to root for my team here in my backyard.
Yeah.
And as, I grow and generations start, you're going to be focusing on that team. So the market is there. It's going to grow, and it's just a matter of time. So it's exciting time for both Liga MX fans and MLS fans, born over here,
definitely.
The possibility of seeing two of your favorite teams playing together is drama, and we love drama.
Right.
We do.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. Especially if, like, let's say this Tigres LAFC game that's coming up is 3-2, 90th minute, there's an equalizer, and then it goes to penalties, right? Let's say the next time they play, there's some drama there, right? So we get to start brewing these rivalries, and rivalries brings eyes, right? Eyes want to watch intense matchups, right? And it can only get better.